Hey everybody, welcome to A Million Little Podcast, and it is a million little days late, and that's just how it's going to be, I think.
Yeah.
Until they won't give us screeners ahead of time. I don't know, they don't believe in us. They don't think we're legit. We got numbers that say otherwise. We're the people's champ of this thing. I'm Kevin, and I'm here with Jamie.
Yep.
And Dave is not here, but honestly, that's not Dave's fault. Because I didn't even tell him we were doing this right now. Because I just got back from Phoenix.
We had literally an hour window, so this is when it was happening.
Yes, that's it. We literally, yes, exactly what Jamie said. We had 1 hour this week where this could possibly happen. This is what it is. So
you're welcome.
You're welcome, America. So this is the name of the episode is The Sleepover. And this is
very promising.
Pretty good.
Since we know who spends all their time at sleepovers, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is Danny stuff. So you like that?
Yep. Big Danny episode. Also, as I realized, a big kind of a big everybody episode. It was more of a sort of well-rounded everybody in its sort of original type episode. I feel like there was no weird stuff with Eric.
Yeah.
There was no weird stuff with any, I guess there's that abusive boyfriend who we've never seen. But other than that, it's like more or less core group and everybody got time.
Yeah, this is one where I think I feel like I was writing down event by event as opposed to just person by person, kind of. So I thought it was good. And I noted before last week, I think, or a couple of weeks ago, where I was like, a couple of actual funny things happened, which I don't mean to make that like a backhanded compliment where it's like, you know what, one thing was funny, and that's crazy. But
you know what, I felt joy a couple of times, so that's cool.
Yeah, but a couple of things made me laugh in this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the best way. Theo was back on his bullshit. Theo was back and up and above and beyond his bullshit this time. I think I wrote down literally everything he said. Like, this man is killing it.
Yes.
And then Danny, of course, was hilarious.
Yeah. Danny was actually funny, too. You know who's not funny is Sophie at all.
Well, that was one of my favorite Danny moments where she's like, did I tell you? He's like, where you mistook grapes for blueberries. Yeah, hilarious. Like, drag her, Danny.
Yeah, a very good dry dragging.
Danny is 65 years old, and I love it.
Yeah, like we said, it's funny that he's a kid and he has like kind of an old smoker's voice too. It's like he has he's got a little bit of rasp to him. I wrote the first thing I wrote was Jake is not funny, and Sophie would not know what funny is. So I think that makes sense.
Yes. And Sophie's like, it's hard to tell if she's just supposed to be, she's way too happy. It feels ominous how happy she is.
Right.
She's like complimenting her mom's shirt. I'm just like, I don't like, this is all very weird and I don't like it. She thinks her boyfriend's hilarious. He's not. And it's like, did she just get dumb?
Yeah. And, well, I mean, is that what happens when people have a crush? I think kind of sometimes.
She's stupid in love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think there is part of that tracks where she's...
Or is it because she's a reefer head?
Oh, that's true. She's on weed. That's a late spoiler. I do like how dramatically they played, oh my God, this bitch got joints. Like this is big trouble.
Is it legal in Boston? No, probably not.
I don't know, but I keep
forgetting they're not in California though too. So I'm like, it's legal. Wait. No,
and
maybe not.
And they film in Vancouver, where I think it's super legal, borderline mandatory.
All right, great.
Yeah, I think so.
So she's fine.
Yeah, in reality, she's fine.
That was just a retroactive, like looking back on the episode. It's like, wait, is she supposed to be like dumb because she's like smoking dope now?
Right.
Or is it that just supposed to be the in love stuff?
I think it's more the in love stuff.
I think so too. I hope.
Yeah, but she's basically crushing on this Jake guy, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's her whole storyline is she's in love with an idiot and it's turning her into an idiot. and everybody hates it, and that's about it.
Yeah, and it's I guess well played all around because it is annoying and vapid and vacant and
and it does suck when someone you like is dating someone stupid, and then you just have to deal with it.
Very much so. That is one of the worst. One of the worst things when in your good friend group, or I guess it would suck if your kid was dating someone who sucked too. It's like because they can just bring that person. They can bring them to all the Christmases. That's like if your siblings too. My siblings both have very good wives, like fun, nice people. So I'm very lucky that way.
My brother married my best friend's sister, so that works out
that
great.
Could not be more on brand for you and your family to just shut it down. You're like
close that loop.
Yes, you and your family like Japan of a couple centuries ago, where you close the borders for 200 years and let's just lock this down.
Yeah, we're a tight group.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you lead me around, Jamie, for where you want to go plot wise.
Geez. Well,
I've got notes, but I assume yours is more organized because I literally just did this.
Well, I went by people as opposed to events, so
Right.
I don't know what the best way to go with this is.
Go people.
All right. Well, we started off. I'm gonna end on Danny just because it was nice.
Good.
Rome and Regina have probably the most dramatic storyline this time.
A bit of a car chase.
Of a little, just, a brief and almost car chase. Mm-hmm. Which I guess Danny's watching a car chase, so there's that. Look at that.
And they make Gary cry, so really weaving him through.
That was so nice. So they open up and they're getting the sonogram done with Eve and getting to see their future baby's, quote, perfectly shaped head. Mm-hmm. They go for the, is that his dick? No, it's a finger joke. Mm-hmm. Classic sonogram humor.
Yep, just what is it? Guess a dick. If it's pointy, you gotta guess dick. Those are the rules. Also, email us or DM us a drawing of what you think the perfect head looks like. What is a perfectly
Baby's
shaped head?
Just round and big,
Circle?
I think.
Yeah, I
think they're just making sure it's not too tiny.
Yeah.
And or dented.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I'm not a medical professional, but I feel like that's generally what you're looking for.
I feel like doctors, and understandably so, when they're describing what they're seeing on the sonogram, ultrasound, whatever, that they are... they sort of trend positive, right? Everything's perfect. Unless there's a serious problem, everything's perfect.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, you did great. Perfect, baby. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Like, is it, though?
Yeah.
Something's probably a little wonky. I mean, odds are.
Tell me the baby's a 7 out of 10. Give my baby a 7, you coward.
It's still baking. It's fine. Yeah. We don't know yet. There's a lot of babies that look pretty bad when they come out, end up being gorgeous people. Mm-hmm. So it's fine.
How were you as a baby looking, do you think?
I went the other way. I think I was a pretty cute baby.
Well, great news.
I don't know what I looked like fresh out the oven, but I think I was a pretty adorable little blonde hair, blue eye. I feel like in proportion to my head when I was a baby, my eyes were like so much bigger. Big old blue-eyed Gerber-looking baby.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then my hair turned brown. My face got fat. My eyes
Jesus Christ. Let's forget I ever asked.
Yeah. No, but cute baby.
That's good.
How about you?
I think I probably sucked immediately as a baby, and then but
looks-wise?
Yeah. But I got good pretty quick, and then it's ebbed and flowed since.
You're a pretty cute kid.
Yeah, I had stretches where I think I was undeniably cute as a kid. Yes, I think 1 to 2 seemed pretty good. When there was a painting of me that you've seen.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom got paintings of us, but she did it when we were in middle school.
Don't do that.
The worst.
Cameras should be banned while you're in middle school.
It should.
There's no reason to be doing that.
Yeah, it sucked.
Anyway, so they had the baby looks good so far.
Right, on the sonogram, we're liking it. 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. And then we see that Eve has scars on her shoulder, which we find out is from her boyfriend dumping boiling water on her when she was pregnant, and that's why she left. He didn't know she was pregnant yet, but it's a good reason to leave, I think.
Yeah.
Not too bad. And also, not for nothing, it's a scene with 4 black actors just kick off a network TV show. That's not nothing.
No, especially in a show that's not like a black show.
No.
Like that is
It's a pretty overall white show.
Yes, that's true. That is not nothing.
Shonda Rhimes had nothing to do with it, so that means this is an accomplishment.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, good call. I didn't even notice.
5 if you count the fetus, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Unless there's a big surprise in there.
Ooh, shoot.
Ooh.
Derek is the whitest man on earth. Yeah, and then they go out and get ice cream, which I think is great. You should get ice cream after a sonogram for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Any medical procedure or appointment, you deserve a treat afterwards. And then they're commiserating about having dead moms, Rome and Eve, seems like.
They kind of each get a commiserate because they talk about the mom thing a little bit. His mom hates carrot cake. And that's his big memory. And then later, Gina and Eve commiserate about basically having both suffered from abuse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they both, they get to talk about painful stuff with Eve, and it goes great, but they're still having a good time until they spot Eve's boyfriend's car outside of her work, or she does. And so they keep driving and go to their house, and the rest of the episode is pretty much figuring out what to do about that.
And then it's sort of, and Rome ends up going to the house to get her go bag, basically, and they're stressing because they can sort of see, and someone tweeted at us, and you can tweet at us at, I believe, at @1,000,000pod. I always forget to remember, at @1,000,000 podcast on Twitter.
Yes.
And someone did tweet at us there. I'm 4 minutes in, they're not getting this baby, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Where it definitely had that vibe, and they're conflicted for a minute because they're like, oh, she runs away, like she wants to. They're gonna end up not getting this baby, but they talk it through, and as Gina says, that for now they have to take care of this person who is fully alive here in front of them right now.
Good plan, you guys.
Yeah, and Rome goes and he talks about the fear he has even while he's just like at her house knowing that psycho dude's around.
Right, which is sort of it was a little interesting to me that they showed that.
You could have that would have been you could have just seen Rome there and had suspicious things happening.
Hearing a sound, and then it's just like, a friggin' pigeon or something, and you get how it would make you paranoid for the rest of your life. There's someone out there who wants to find you and get you. But they probably traded that for her getting to talk to Gina, which I think makes more sense, so I get it. And basically they're talking about like how much to try and get her to stay, like how much to try and influence or like control what she's doing, even though she wants to get the fuck out of town. But then they, decide on like, all right, well, let's just do what's best for her specifically. Let's forget about the baby for a minute. And they put her in they're going to get her to a women's shelter. They talk to Catherine about getting a restraining order, and they just do all the right stuff.
Yeah,
basically.
All the teams using their powers here.
And we never run into the boyfriend in this episode.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't, unless what if Sophie hits him with her car because she sucks at driving and she accidentally kills the boyfriend? That's what I'm shipping. I'm shipping the abusive guy and the front bumper of a car.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love the whole thing.
I love when bad guys die in shows.
It's the best.
This is one of my things. I tell you, my favorite SVU episode, they shoot a kid who deserved it, and it ruled. That makes me sound bad if you haven't seen the episode, but Kyle MacLachlan's in it, and if you know, you know. It's great.
It really, truly is. By the end of that episode, you want that kid dead. And then they kill him, and it's one of the most satisfying Law & Order episodes of all time.
Hell yeah.
Because normally it's like, Dick Wolf, it's a muddy ending, who knows who's right, but this was like, hell yeah. And he gets, spoiler alert, he gets away with it, which is even better. I'm like, this is not a Dick Wolf, this is just play the happy ending music.
Yeah.
Just like let the orchestra swell, it's a happy ending for everyone. I love it.
So that basically ends the Gina Rome situation.
Right.
And
seems like some shit's going to go down for them soon, but yeah, basically they just did a good job and she's safe for the moment. And yes, I agree. Probs, they not getting that baby.
Yeah.
Because they've set up that Eve is actually a really good mom so far.
That's true. So she could end up just changing her mind at the end, and they have to deal with it. And that's tough. That's, you know, as we've said before, we like best on this show when you tell the small stories of life, and we say small not in that it's not extremely huge in these people's lives, but it's not like, you know, a murder mystery.
It's not an asteroid hitting Earth. It's just affecting these people.
Yeah, and I feel like that is when this show tends to be the best. Let's do. We talked about how fun Theo was. Should we do that?
Yes.
The Theo, Eddie, and what's her friggin' name?
Catherine.
No, I know Catherine. What's the other one? The
Dakota.
One, Dakota. Thank you. Yeah, no, Catherine's great. Catherine's like the best person on the show, probably.
Yeah, she's
but
very good.
I know her. Dakota. Lose it. Lose Dakota.
I can get. I mean, it was so good. She's Dakota, the music lady. What's it called? Musician.
Music lady, yes. She's the music lady. She leads them through Iowa. Is that the Music Man thing?
Oh,
Music Lady's the reboot of the Music Man?
Yeah.
You don't know about the Music Man?
Well, I know that there is a Music Man. I don't know where he is or what he does.
Okay, for some reason I think it's Iowa. I don't know at all. I just assumed it's like a musical thing.
There's
Maybe
a trombone, right?
Yeah, there's got to be a trombone. You're a Music Man, you don't got a trombone? You're no longer the Music Man.
Ooh, I need to see more theater. I'm working on it.
Dakota, the music girl, sucks.
Yeah.
I say. I don't like ball busting. I don't like unearned, not hilarious ball busting, and that's all she's been.
Right. And I feel like it was more in the first time we met her. I guess maybe she was doing it this time, although while she and Eddie were having their little ball busting thing, I honestly didn't hear a word they said because I was just watching Theo, who I'm like, oh, he knows what flirting looks like, and he hates it.
Theo, I think we've talked.
It was good.
Talked a lot about Danny. The kid who plays Theo is great.
Oh,
I've come all the way around on him.
Oh, me too. He knocked it out of the park today. Eddie's doing his best. He lets Theo have a cowbell, which I do hate, but you know.
Yeah,
but
cowbells are over.
But good for him. Him just like doing the 1 and 3 and yeah, like I hate. Please put that away. But I'm glad that he's happy about it. So yeah, Dakota shows up to, I guess, rehearse with Eddie in his garage. I don't even really know why she's there. He includes Theo, which is nice. Theo says to Dakota, "Your sweater has holes in it." And
a really great opening line. He just negs her right off the bat in a very good way.
He has a feeling, and he's not wrong. Mm-hmm. And she says, you know, what's cray is that I paid a lot of money for it. He said, that is cray, in a pretty deadpan way, which I enjoyed. He wouldn't let her wear his hat because it's head lice season. I don't even know if there is a head lice season, but that's great.
You know when head lice season is? All year round. Every day.
Mean, is there a time you can't get head lice? I don't think so.
You got a dirty head, you're getting lice.
That's right.
We're not doctors, but you know.
Don't get your medical news from us.
Yeah.
And then he and Eddie and Dakota are doing their dumb flirting, being mean to each other thing and laughing, and Theo can read it immediately. It's all over his face. And he says, are we rehearsing or are we joking around?
Yeah. I like a kid. I really relate. Both Jamie and I think, relate to kids who get nervous about being serious because we're both that kind of person. Like, I've almost... doing
what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. And, like, I think in my life, you'd probably say I've been more of a rule breaker than Jamie.
Yeah.
But... when stuff is supposed to happen, like, I've never been late. Like, you know, stuff like that. Like, I can't stand fucking around when you have a thing that you're supposed to be doing.
Right. Rule breaking was mainly in the context of school, I feel like, for you. Not completely, but... School
and, like, drinking and stuff.
Because you would, like, skip school. Like, you would not skip work.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you knew it didn't matter.
School did not matter for me. It matters for some people.
Well,
but
you weren't going to be a doctor. You don't need to go to all that.
Gives a shit. I was going to do this. Things like this. I was just going to talk. I learned how to talk very early and then pretty much coasted from there.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. But yes, we both have that Theo gene of just like, guys, we're supposed to be doing a thing. Let's do the thing. Let's stop fucking around, okay? Mm-hmm. I can't wait for the day that they have to bleep Theo on the show.
They should use one good bleep for Theo and just have everyone like freeze, drop a plate.
Mom, Dad, stop fucking around. Holy shit. And then they'll have to bleep it again because everyone will be like, whoa, fuck.
Yeah. Eddie just starts telling him what to like clean up or something. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't speak fuck boy. Your dad is a fuck boy.
I can't wait. Please do that at some point. Yeah. Or just bleep even if he didn't say something bad, just so it feels like he did.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eddie tries to explain that they're just friends and it's fine. And then Theo says, oh, friends like you and Aunt Delilah, are you going to have a baby with her too? Which is devastating.
Are you going to have a baby with her too is very funny and absolute Mortal Kombat fatality. There's nothing to be done about this.
His head should have just popped off.
Yeah, exactly. So you get, yeah. Bitch, you can't even cheat without having babies? Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I just wrote like, Theo is killing it today in all caps after that.
Dad, if you're going to have more girlfriends that aren't mommy, can you wrap it up next time?
Can get it together.
Right.
And then, Eddie and Catherine have to have a chat about this. And Catherine has like sort of a little thing where she's sort of... she says that they're going to go talk to him together as a united front, but then Theo pretty much smashes that and says he only wants cuddles from mommy tonight. Like, again, devastating. Fantastic. He doesn't trust his dad anymore. And then Catherine takes the time to remind him about John and explain that they were friends. Just friends, not daddy kind of friends. Just friends who talk and like each other and get each other. And so Theo sort of has to concede that adults can be friends with each other and not end up with a baby.
Right. However, Theo could also say, well, Mom, I know you can be friends with people,
Yes. He also says, I don't want you to have to go to the Grand Canyon again, which is also devastating.
Yeah.
This time was like, ooh, Catherine, yeah, that one was on you. You did just leave for your imaginary Grand Canyon without telling him.
That's true.
Oof. Yeah, he is just blowing shit up all over the place. And then they, like, as they're chatting after that, it's like they finally say out loud, it's just like, he catches everything. Like, yeah, I mean, yes. I'm glad they finally know this.
Yeah, I feel like they've been slowly discovering over the course of about 40 episodes that, like, Theo knows something, Yeah, he's a talking human at this point.
He's a talking human who absorbs things. And also, it's like, if you just pay attention to how much, like, facts, like the facts about, the geese and what they can and can't eat.
Yeah, that's...
Like, he knows this, he remembers it, he's very concerned about it, and it's just like, you didn't think he'd pick up on you guys being weird 24/7?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anywho.
I liked him not letting her have mugs, too. And him...
Oh, yes.
And him saying, yeah, that was okay for Catherine, and if you want to use a mug, use one of the ones without a letter on it.
Use one of the blank ones nobody
no
cares
one cares
about. Oh, I forgot. I did write that down. I forgot about it. It was so good. Also devastating. Nothing but, I mean, just like basically a slow rollout roast battle from Theo. One-sided roast battle because no one else can step to him.
And good, Dakota sucks.
She does suck, and it was great. And it's like, is it mean? Sure. Is she sleeping with his dad? No.
Not yet.
Am I fine with it? Yes.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, mark your territory now. That's my dad. You're not having a baby with him. Get the fuck out of here, Dakota.
You're right in your prime baby making years, and right. Aunt Delilah was really at the tail end of it, so really you're more of a threat. Whoa, Theo.
Now that I know how this works. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, Catherine and Eddie have, a little... She says that she had mentioned John, said she hadn't thought about him for a few days, and didn't think that would happen, so she's like, there are some things we never think we'll get over, but we do. I guess, which also applies to the
basically the
baby
cheating.
Having.
Yes, yeah.
But she also says, like, this is part of our story now, and it always will be, which is a bummer.
It is a bummer. Yeah, mm-hmm. You need a go back machine, need a time machine. But I did specifically like they're talking through the parenting approach to Theo. Before it ended up being just Catherine, I thought the way they were talking through it was good and interesting and sort of revealing. Yeah, and I guess that's nice. What good parents do. So, all right, let's I guess go on to. I mean, it's Gary one way or another, Gary adjacent. So either Gary Maggie or like the sleepover element.
Let's go Gary Maggie.
Sure. Gary Maggie, basically we see that Maggie is, she's doing her 6 month checkup, and so she's kind of freaking out about that. And then...
Getting a scan done and kind of flipping out.
Stressing out, and she's thinking about... Yeah, and then she's flashing back to Gary being there for her. Eventually she makes a call to... And you can tell it's the kind of thing where she's just flashing back about Gary, so it's the mislead, but it's not really a mislead, because it's not going to be Gary. She calls Delilah.
We know your tricks now.
Yeah, exactly.
Little things. Nice try.
So, fuck you. We knew what's up. So...
you guys. Use a blank mug, idiots.
Delilah shows up and is the one that's there for her, and Gary's been sort of busybodying all day because he knows what's up too.
It ends up being a little bit of a theme, is that Maggie's doing a lot of flashing back about Gary, Gary's doing a lot of flashing back about Maggie, and neither one of them is actually contacting each other.
Right.
They're going through Delilah, basically, because each one doesn't think the other one wants to hear from them. And they're trying this just friends thing, which is dumb.
It's dumb because you're in love. Go be it. Yeah, and talk more about that in a second. But we've talked about how apparently whoever's polishing off the scripts on this hates everyone in the service industry, or has only run into like assholes in the service industry. Also, every doctor they talk to sucks, which I appreciate, because doctors aren't all heroes. We know some good ones, but there's some real piece of shit doctors out there.
Sure.
And so
also, some of them are just straight up sociopaths. Like, to be able to like cut people open for a living, it's like they're not good at person to person.
Sure.
Shit.
Well, and there's
two different jobs, really.
Yeah, and at first. There's the one comes in with birthday cake to a medical area with a big machine and stuff. And it's like, oh, chill. And then the assistant guy, he's like, I'm not supposed to interpret what's on here, so I can't tell you stuff. That sucks. Later on, when they get the results, the doctor comes in. He's just like looking down at the paper and says, the Bruins game, and then looks up, is like, oh, women, basically, I think is what the move was there, right?
I think because he expected Gary to be there, who always wears a Bruins hat.
Which is fine.
To the thing. So I think he knows, he was expecting to be like, oh, I can chat with them. And then it's like, huh, it's a lady without a Bruins hat. Now what do I do?
Even so, it's her checkup. And the fact that he'd be coming in automatically talking to the dude is like,
yes, it is stupid. I didn't hate it the most just because it's like, it's hard to figure out small talk. And he was like, I have a guaranteed, I can talk about the Bruins game. I got an in, and then the in went away. And he was like, well, shit, I guess just your results then.
I guess I'll just tell you you're healthy and not having cancer. To me, if you got those results, your small talk's done. That's what they want to hear. Go, just, jump straight to the main event.
If that was my job, the words would be out of my mouth before the door was closed. Yeah. I'd be like, scan looks good, Maggie. Actually, you're clear right now. It's like, don't take the time to get to your desk and sit down.
Right.
And if you do, then I know that it's not good news.
Right. If he just starts, oh boy, barfs.
Yep. Pardon me. Anyway, you're great. I'm pregnant. Surprise. Yeah. And so the results are great, and that's great, and everyone's happy. But then he's like, okay, but hold on, you got to schedule your next 6 month screening. And that's how Maggie gets into it with Delilah, that, she's got the rest of her life ahead of her now, which is new, but she's only getting it in 6 month chunks, because you don't know every 6 months you have to go through this stupid shit again.
Right.
And she was thinking about her friend at her party who freaked out about the piñata, of course.
Which was quite a freak out.
And that was a remission party where, you're in the clear at that point. It could come back, but you don't have to be getting checkups as often, I think. So she should have been doing great, but she wasn't doing great, because this is just your mindset now. It always could come back. Yeah,
it's just resetting the clock and then counting again. It's a terrible thing. It shouldn't exist. And then towards the end of this, did you have something to jump in with?
No.
Basically, Gary and Maggie do end up talking on the phone.
Yeah, she calls him at the end.
Mm-hmm. And at first I was thinking, is this, because Gary talks about the sleepover, which, spoiler, was Danny and Elliot, two boys who want to kiss, sleeping over. So he says that, and Elliot ends up, he has to move away. So Gary tells Maggie that, Danny's sad about it, and he thinks he'll never find someone else. So obviously this is also them talking about themselves. Because they're
someone who gets him.
Because they're both in a position where they've broken up, and it's not anyone's fault, really. And they're both kind of wondering if they'll find someone else, or is this about coming back to find each other? And I thought at the end of their phone conversation, I was wondering if this is maybe the real letting each other go moment, because it's a thing I forget if I've talked about it on this podcast, but I've talked about it plenty of other places. The Coke machine effect is a thing I heard from a goofy kid on my dorm floor.
A college dumbass.
But it said with all affection in the world, a true branded college dumbass.
We were both college dumbasses.
Of course.
At some point.
This guy's a great college dumbass with an idea that stuck with me ever since.
I think about it all the time.
Yes. So in a breakups almost never take on the first try if it's a real thing. So, and then he related that to me by saying, when you try to knock over a Coke machine? And I was like, I don't, Dennis, but continue. And he goes, well, you run into it, and then you never knock it over on the first try. It tilts, and then it comes.
You never. How many times have you done
This guy's just a maniac. He's a chaos to Coke machines, and then so you hit the Coke machine, and then it teeters back towards you again. That's the bounce back, the rebound to the relationship you broke up. It comes back, and then he's like, then you got to hit it again to knock it over. Sometimes it takes a couple hits.
Sometimes it'll swing further that way and then swing further back towards you, and then finally you give it one last shove and it falls over. And I assume you get the Coke out,
then
or
Coke's
it's just
free when you break up.
Just for the. That's the rule, guys. A lot of people don't know about that. If you show proof of a breakup to Coke,
go to Atlanta.
You do have to go to Atlanta, though. So that's how they get you.
So I thought maybe this was sort of a nuanced, interesting, because you're past the fire with each other, and you get to the point where it's sort of a peaceful, and it's sad still, but it's a peaceful, loving letting go.
Yeah. Oh, it was a tortured conversation because they were both trying very hard to be friends and not it was the kind of thing where you're faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
They're calling each other by their last names. They're, obviously, and they're talking about Danny and what he's sad about, even though clearly that's not at all what either one of them is thinking about. But that's, a thing you would talk about in this friend group. So they're just doing it. And then, and that's it. And I think that that's also a theme, the being worried you're not going to, or losing someone who gets you. Because it's that's obviously Maggie and Gary. Catherine was talking about John. John was someone who just got her.
True. Who
she could talk to. Now he's gone. He kind of was the main one for her. Not even Eddie, who she loves, but doesn't always get her like that. And then Elliot and Danny as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yes, I do think that's a good call. It was sort of a scooching it right into the friend zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and interestingly done, I thought. And it seems like in the previews that Gary might have I must tell her how I feel again moment next week. And, that's also fine. Whatever. The Coke machine, there's no limit on the number of times it can bounce back and forth. But I think
depending on how, what your upper body strength is, it might take a lot of tries.
But but also it's just functionally with TV shows, you sort of gotta, unless the show is automatically getting renewed all the time, you gotta set yourself up to end all these storylines in any number of ways, kind of at any time. So,
that's true.
So it puts you in a position
sucks.
where you can do that. All right, so that's Gary Maggie. Let's talk Danny's sleepover.
Whoop, whoop.
So Danny basically, Danny's having a sleepover. You know where this is going right away, but it's still good that he's like, can I have a sleepover? Cool. Anyway, it's with my boyf. Gotcha. Friggin' gay privilege in the house for kids where you can sneak a sleepover.
That's right.
So and it's, I thought Gary's reaction to it when Delilah was like, shit, basically Gary just laughing about it was good, because this isn't that serious.
I got swerved. Yeah, she's like, they're 13. It's yes, they are, but also it's they're fine.
Yeah, they're not
the biggest thing that's going to happen is they're going to smooch at this
Yeah.
at this sleepover.
They're not like Manhattan 13-year-olds.
No.
Yeah.
Danny's very respectable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's not some rich piece of shit who's snorting coke already, like and getting real weird.
No, although
yeah.
they did spend part of the sleepover measuring each other, which is sounds
so
worse.
to speak.
Sounds
Yeah, exactly.
worse than-
Their whole height, but yeah. I mean, that is around the age when you think you measure yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's great. And then you find out that that Elliot's moving away to Hartford, and that's life ruining. Again, he's losing someone who gets him. He's losing his, not only his boyf, but like I would assume maybe the one person his age he can talk to.
Yeah.
About being a gay kid.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really big deal, and even
life running.
And even Elliot says, he could start fresh in this new place, but he liked who he had gotten to be here. Did you? I also liked Gary's line when, where he was talking to Delilah. It's like, well, would you let Sophie and Jake sleep over? And she said no. He's like, yeah. Well, she's like, it's different. He said, yeah, there's two Jakes. I thought that was a funny line. Yeah, there's two Jakes in that way. That was good. Did you ever have a very good friend move?
Yeah, I did. When I was, I want to say like 10, one of my two best friends moved to Indianapolis from Terre Haute. So it's like...
was that Horse Girl?
No.
Original Horse Girl?
She's still there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I had a friend that was really into horses.
Yeah.
And in middle school, she would act like a horse in the hallways. So that's who I was. If you can sort of guess my social strata from, she would literally trot up to me with her hands up like hooves and whinny, and then she would bite the scrunchie and
oh my god,
take it out of my hair, and which
That's
I hated.
sexual.
I know, and you would think
she didn't mean it that way.
No,
Yeah.
she certainly didn't. Yeah. I mean, if there was anything less sexual in this world than a horse girl, I don't know what is. And she's happily married now and has a child with a boy, by the way.
Hey, she sounds great. This is very fun to me.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously,
she would whinny and just ruin my life.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fatal as someone who was in a different social group. Yeah. Possibly, I would see that and be like, "God damn!"
But I had nowhere to go but up or sideways, so it was fine. And I had sleepovers at her house, and she had a terrifying but nice, terrifying just because it was huge, Saint Bernard.
But she did not move. Another friend of yours did.
A girl named Lori, whose parents were British, so that's how I learned fun words like saying torches for flashlights, and and her dad, worked at a chemical company in Indy, and then they ended up moving there. And I know I visited her a couple of times. My mom would drive me all an hour and a half or something which at the time seemed crazy, to go hang out at her house.
Yeah.
A couple times. And then and I know we wrote letters for a while.
Yeah,
this was before, email was big.
I did that too. I mean, I was the kid who moved, basically. I moved from Long Island to outside Chicago in third grade over the course of a weekend in March. So it wasn't the end of... It was right in the middle of a school year.
That's
I went from...
crazy.
I was on a Friday, I was in a Catholic school on Long Island, and then on that Monday I was in a public school in Hinsdale, Illinois. Ooh. And my parents got divorced and we moved real quick. And so I did the same thing where it's I wrote... literally everyone in my class wrote a letter to me. So one day they just did that as a class thing one day. So I got
nice,
30 letters from my class.
Were any of them just Dear Kevin, I hope you like your new town. Love, person that I never really talked to in class.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. Dear Kevin, good riddance.
Dear Kevin, fuck you.
Yeah, I would. I wish I had those letters still around because third grade. But yeah, I guess nice. I was the kid who moved.
Yeah. I guess more along these lines. In fifth grade, after fifth grade, the kid that I had a huge crush on did move away to Arizona.
There you go.
And I was absolutely devastated.
Crush that moved, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talk because, again, social stress. He was popular and funny, and I was quiet and not. And
well, you were for sure funny, but you weren't. No one knew at the time.
No one would know.
Yes.
No. And that was devastating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you were. He agreed to be your boyfriend for a day, though.
Yeah, my friend Amy, who was not popular, not so popular, but hung with the popular kids. Again, this is 5th grade. I think gave him a roll of sprees on the playground as a bribe to be my boyfriend for a day. So technically, for a day, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We did not speak that day or ever.
What an arranged marriage! Yeah.
Yeah. And then he was moving to Arizona, where my dad was from. So people gave him presents when he left, and my dad was like, there's a great steakhouse there where they nail ties to the ceiling, so you should give him ties so he can go to the restaurant and do it. I was like, sounds great, and then did that. And of course, in the 5th grade, it's like, the fuck kind of present is that? That's like
extremely thoughtful and clever.
It is. It didn't go over great.
Jesus, but what would?
I felt like a real loser.
God, I can't. Well, what is a good?
Anyway,
I mean, it's just more sprees, I guess.
He had like 3 kids at the 10-year reunion, so I dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I saw him. You upgraded.
Yeah, we did fine.
No
we
offense,
all did
the guy's
fine.
fine.
No,
Yeah.
he was great.
Yeah.
Again, back it up. Very funny in the 5th grade.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Since then, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it is. It's absolutely devastating, especially, like, I mean, at any age, but especially at that age when that's your one person.
Yeah, and especially if you are gay at that age, and in they're just, I can't imagine.
Well, also, it's like, I'm someone who usually had, like, a best friend. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and if the one best friend moves away, then, like, oh my God, you're starting from scratch. That sucks.
Right.
So this sucks for Danny. He is handling it actually very well.
Yeah.
And he's Gary, since Delilah runs off to be with Maggie, Gary's sort of supervising the sleepover. He's making weird popcorn. He's having fun with them. He's distracting himself because he knows that it's Maggie's cancer day, which is why he's been fixing stuff around the Dixon house all day, because he had put it in his calendar 6 months ago because he assumed he'd be going with her, which is what he tells Delilah at the end. And Danny tells him, I'm having so much fun, it's making me sad.
Like, been there, kid.
Ugh,
yeah.
That's a mood, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gary's giving Danny Elliot advice, and then Danny's giving Gary Maggie advice. So they're just talking about their relationships like 2 people in their mid-30s, which Danny basically is at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was better this time than when Danny... I did not as much enjoy when they made Danny be, like, cocky about it and be like, well, when you're ready to talk, let me... It's like, all right, kid.
Know.
But this felt better.
Yes, this felt better. So, it's really sweet. They all get to hang out. They watch a movie with a car chase. Mm-hmm. And during that, Gary gets the text from Delilah that says Maggie's all clear, and, starts crying immediately out of relief, and then, tries to cover it up. But shows Danny the text, like, without making a big deal about it. And I thought that was so sweet.
That is nice. It's a small thing that shows you how genuinely tight these two are. Which I think is cool.
It was super nice. Yeah, and doesn't make it about him because it's Danny and Elliot's last night. Like, that's the thing. You guys keep having fun. And
then he passes out, and then we find out the next day that his dog's a narc.
I know. Maybe it was a police dog.
Yeah, Colin has a future in law enforcement.
Colin, if you're a cop, you have to tell us.
Woof. Yeah, fucking cop.
Woof, woof. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Arrest Sophie. And then, and Danny and Elliot fall asleep holding hands. Also very sweet. The whole sleepover part at the end was like, ugh. It's getting me.
Yeah. No, that was very sweet. Falling asleep holding hands is like 5th base.
Oh my God. You know what's 5th base is casually walking out at the beginning of the episode when Danny's wearing Elliot's jersey. I was like, what the? I was like, I literally wrote down that's like 100th base. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, wearing, and I wrote down like, see, it's kind of hack, but it made me be like, see, that's why as a kid it would be cool to be gay because I could get all my friends' jerseys and shit, and like we could trade
share
video
clothes
games
and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So yeah,
God.
But yeah, I was like, that's deep. That's pretty cash, my friend.
Insane.
You got this other guy. How's that guy a Tigers fan? I guess maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But that I know. I was like, that's the holding hands. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I mean, that is also like 5th base for that time for sure. That's crazy to me. Holding hands with a boy at that time is just like bonkers.
Yes.
But then the shirt was, to me, was more shocking. Like, holy shit.
Definitely.
But that is a good point. the one perk of being gay as a child is like, man, you would know how to get presents for your significant other, like, so much easier.
And I mean, the
right
whole
off the bat.
sleepover angle shows you can just hang out with the person more easily all the time. Now, I did have this discussion on the other TV show podcast I do with John Daly, where we were discussing what bases are what.
Oh,
what?
Geez.
Okay, so what? I don't know if you heard that episode yet. But the show is called Sex and the City. It's where me and John are watching Sex and the City for the first time.
I don't think that one came out yet.
So, what to you?
Yeah.
First base, what is it?
Oh, shoot. I guess kissing.
Yep, that's as far as I know, too. Second base.
I think it's either like over or under shirt action.
It's boob stuff. It's,
like up top stuff more.
Yeah, up top stuff.
Maybe someone sees a boob.
Third base.
Third base.
This is where the conflict was.
It is tricky because, like, a blowy seems like too much for third base.
Yeah, but that was John's thing. John's thing with third base is mouth stuff, and my thing.
And see, I don't think he's necessarily wrong. But
I think it should be.
But it seems like there should be another base in between 2 and 3.
Yeah, because third, me growing up, I heard that's like down the pants stuff, but still hand things. So
right, that seems more like it.
But then going from third to home is really a few bases.
Yeah.
So I think John should be right, but I think I'm right as far as what it is.
Right.
But it could be regional, too, so who knows? So there we go. That's base talk. Listen to Sex and the City, too, if you want to hear us talk. Sex and the City is a dirtier show than this one.
Yeah, that's true.
But, yes, so...
I did just realize that in high school, I was the third wheel on some gay sleepovers.
Oh, that's fun.
Because my best friend in high school is gay, and she had a girlfriend, like, our senior year. But also, stuff didn't happen because it was like Danny level,
sure,
like happenings. It wasn't like crazy, but
you're the gay chaperone. That could be your memoir title.
The gay chaperone.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
Trademark.
All right. Don't steal it.
I think that's it, right?
Well, at the end, I just wanted to end on the lovely little montage. The "Hold Me Now." The very 80s vibe. If you've ever watched, a John Hughes movie, it like Elliot saying goodbye at the end, and he gives Danny the token that he had from what was really their first date at the arcade, which Danny thought he didn't think of as a date, but apparently he did because he kept a souvenir from it. It was and even like the line he says, like, "You changed my life and how I pack forever." It was like cheesy but nice, and they both smile about it.
Yeah, kind of a wink about it too.
The 80s music, which it's like, it made me think that, like, I'm like, is that like a play on a line from an actual 80s movie? It was like such that vibe that I wondered if that's what it was, but
it was well done.
But I thought it was great, and it was nice, and it was good.
Yeah.
Yay.
Good job.
Put Danny in more episodes. Yeah. It makes them good.
Danny and Theo. Spin it the fuck off.
Just have Sophie murder the boyfriend. She goes to jail for a few episodes.
No,
it's fine. More time for Danny and Theo. Exactly. No offense.
But good episode. And I'll tell you guys up front, since this episode, our podcast is dropping basically the day of the next episode. The following podcast will probably come out Monday night, I think. Monday night or Tuesday.
Right. Yes.
So I will tell you, it will be that late, but Dave will be back.
Hey.
So that'll be good. But follow us at A Million Little Podcast on Instagram, at A Million Podcast on Twitter, and DM us any thoughts. We had we had a few people correcting us. I forget if that was last episode or the one before, because we didn't understand the timing of the Eric and Hart stuff. And
we got very confused.
The montage was confusing.
Poor Widow Boynes couldn't handle it.
Yeah, no, I think that's not entirely on us, even if it is mostly. Correct us too. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Feel free to rate and review us. That's lovely. That helps us out. And thank you for listening. And we'll be late again, but not as late next week.
We're getting better. A million little bye.